up, guys? Tambo here with your Week 3 core report. It was another huge week for Run Pure members, as once again, our logos were all over the leaderboard. I myself actually kicked things off, hitting for $38K on the Thursday NFL Showdown slate, and then once again with another $35K on the PGA slate for President's Cup. You can catch all my core plays and attack plan for every NFL slate, as well as for PGA, available to premium members on runpuresports.com. You Kill Bill Walsh followed up, nailing his CFP core plays for the second week in a row. Shout out to GoBoys18 for hitting over $7,500 on the Friday DK CFP slate. On the NFL main slate, the man shipped big yet again with a $105,000 hit on DraftKings. But once again, it was one of Big T's cores that broke the slate on Monday Night Football. Big T made the unique call of plugging kicker Graham Gano in at captain, opening up salary to load up on studs for a projected low total game. Tony actually called his shot earlier in the day on our free NFL Showdown show.
What does a kicker have to score to get you there if you play him in the captain, Tony?
I mean, I think to like full ship, you would need 5+ field goals, but in a game like this, you could get 5+ field goals.
By the way, if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, what the hell are you thinking? It's free. Just click the red subscribe button on our channel or the bottom right corner of our videos. Big T's strategy paid off big time, shipping literally all the money on DraftKings. Tony won over $280K himself, but he was not alone. RPS members chopped the top prize in the DraftKings Millie Maker, including JCOM turned $70 into $7K. Derek Bowe turned $45 into over $10K. B-Wall-Show5 did the exact same thing. BP Consi turned $90 into over $10K. Jeffy B123, Noon7, MBY Littell 1928, Armed Rogery, Hard Work 24/7, and DSF Dom all joined in, hitting over $10K each. Jay Gingery turned $245 into over $12K. Gators S070, Master 24, and APOC 14 hit for $13K each. Guy Nation Matt Guy shipped over $20,000. Taylor Made himself hit for $20,000 as well. Uncle T even got in on the action, shipping over $27,000. And Rubio's core plays and playbook nailed the game script too, and he joined in on the fun, hitting for over $19,000 himself. I cannot stress enough the benefits of being a member at Run Pure Sports. All it takes is one night like this, and it can set you up for the entire season. And we give you guys the tools and content to make it happen. Head on over to runpuresports.com to check out all our premium options, including SaberSim packages, and we'll see your screenshots in the Discord soon. Until next week, good luck in your contest, and let's keep running pure.
We're picking winners. Once again, we got spread from the bet side and Mangone from the DFS side and the bet side. And you got me, Holden. What's up? Hope everybody's having a great day. We got a great story from Mangone. We're going to break down a whole bunch of great games. Spread is going to give us the insight that you need to bet these games. Bills, Ravens, that'll be the big one we get to. We'll start with that. The marquee game of the week. Jaguars, Eagles. The Jags are 4th in defensive DVOA through 3 weeks. It's amazing what's going on. Seattle and the Lions. We got some big news on DeAndre Swift right now. And you say, oh, Seattle and the Lions. Well, there might be some points put up in this game. Browns, Falcons, and then Broncos, Raiders. Plus, we'll do Thursday Night Football. So I'm looking forward to that. Spread a stare before we get started. How are you, my friend? How's the betting playbook? What is going on in spreads world when it comes to NFL betting right now?
Oh, it's going great, Holden. Real excited to be here talking football with you guys. And of course, the playbook has continued to be a huge success. Tyler and I went through all the projections are up. The power rankings for this week are up. We're just filling in the game notes where Tyler and I attack the props section. So if you're not a member, head on over, runpuresports.com. If you are a member, use that promo code GETBETS. Join us, and any feedback will be welcome. This playbook, you guys have been doing it on the DFS side for years, but this is kind of new to the betting. Any information you think is great, we'd love to add. Anything that you think is superfluous, we can go ahead and take that away, make it a better viewing experience. But Tyler and I are loving it so far.
It would be superfluous if I knew what that meant. So very good. Let's move on to Mangone. I guess he's under the weather a little bit today. Mangone, how's your diet been lately? You can't tell the story behind the scenes and not bring this one on the air because this is an all-timer.
Yeah, this is my throat has been jacked up since Sunday, and I'm trying to put the pieces together. Why? Like, I don't know, and I don't understand what the reason could be. And the only thing that makes sense so far that I figured out is Friday night, I was having friends over, Holden. And when you have friends over, what do? You go over, you run over to like Walmart and you grab some like quick like snacks, right? And Walmart was the closest thing to my house. I'm grabbing some chips. I grabbed some Krispy Kreme donuts, right? Just trying to get some stuff so people are going to be over that way. You're entertaining. It's a good thing to do. And while I'm there, I just happen to walk through the whole grocery store, and I don't know why I stumbled upon it. I think it's because I needed eggs, and that's why I just ended up in this section. But I just saw, there's 12 burgers for $10. And I was like, I'm leaving for Jersey on Thursday. I just want to like make something where like I don't have to think. I'm busy like Monday, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I just want to like grab and go something. I can make it Sunday night. It's like the perfect thing. And then as I bought it and I'm on my way home, I said 12 for 10 burgers is probably a terrible idea. And ever since I've ate them, Holden, I've had this nasty like phlegm in my throat. I basically think it's like I think the burgers were not great burgers, and that jacked up my entire throat. So I sound ridiculous. I'm hoping it somehow heals soon. The only thing I can think of to maybe heal it is like, I don't know, have something spicy just to flush it all out in my system, but I have no idea how to fix it.
So a lot going on here. First of all, he goes, the first place that I go is Walmart. When you need food. So let's start with that as a baseline.
Holden, that's not what happened. What happened was I was in Castle Rock, which you understand. I was hiking over there, and on the way home, as I drove home, there's no like real grocery stores. So I was like, Walmart's close to the house. I had like a 40-minute window to grab stuff, get home, and do a show. So it was a tight window. So I just went to the closest thing to my house. I was like, that's the best thing I can do. And the plan was just to grab chips. I ended up walking out with a lot more stuff. So I don't know what to tell you.
Well, yeah, you told us. I mean, you eat hamburgers from Walmart and your throat's jacked up.
Massive mistake. It was something I've never done, and I don't think I'm ever doing it again. It was a huge mistake, and it wasn't on purpose, but this is where we're at, and we just got to fight through the pain.
Yeah, fight through the pain, Mango. And I bit into a fork last night, and you're covering for me on baseball. I chipped 3 tooth just by last night. I did that. You've got a Walmart hamburger injury. I mean, there's a lot going on here at RPS. Everybody's winning money, but everybody's getting hurt too. Spread, no afflictions going on with you right now. Healthy? You haven't eaten?
I don't even want to talk about what's going on with me. No, I got eaten alive. There was fires in California. And so my normal hiking spots were like on fire. So I went south instead, and I'm hiking in like the Delta. It's a convergence of a bunch of rivers on their way to the Bay Area. And I'm wondering, this place is awesome. Why is there nobody out here? And I got absolutely eaten alive by bugs. And then I like scratched them, and now it's spread. So I have hydrocortisone all over me every single day. So I'm on the injured reserve as well, but I'm still here and I'm ready to go. Travis and I playing through pain, getting it done, Holden, so we're excited to be here.
I don't know who's in the worst spot here. Is it Mangone that his throat hurts because of Walmart burgers? Is it you because of burning fires, or is it me because I need to get my teeth fixed?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at least you can talk, right? I mean,
all right, hit us up in the chat. How about that? If you're watching, especially if you're watching live, hit us up in the chat. Who's got the worst affliction? I vote Mangone, just because, again, we're talking Walmart hamburgers, and this could have all been avoided. But you were desperate, Mangone, so I get it.
It wasn't I was desperate. It was one of those things, Holden, like I was in a rush, and like I made like a decision, and it was like a snap call. And then like once I had made the purchase and I was like walking to the car, and I remember like literally walking and putting in the car, I was like, this could be a real mistake, but let's hope I just run pure here. But I did not.
Yeah, no, there was no running pure with your Walmart burgers. All right. So again, thumbs up, even if you're watching, especially if you're watching on what do we call it? Tape. I guess it's taped. If you're watching not live, thumbs up. If you are live, you know what to do, guys. It's great to see you. I'm going to do members never win in a few minutes, because for the members that are in here, you know the success that this team had on Sunday. But let's get into it. We talk about 6 games, 1 being the Thursday night game, 5 on the main slate. Talk about it from a betting side and a DFS side. We'll get spreads thoughts first on most of these games, and that'll lead right into Mangone's DFS side of things. So spread, the sexy game of the week, probably I think they're the top 2 MVP candidates in the league as of right now, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And right now we've got the Bills, this money line from a couple of days ago. Let's see, 3 days ago it was minus 190. Now it's minus 165 favoring the Bills on the road. We also had this spread at, well, the look ahead line was 1. It was at 4 points as recently as 3 days ago. And now it's sitting at 3 points. And the total has gone from 53 to 51.5, now creeping up to 52. So it's all over the place. Spread. I'm really excited about this game, just like I was Buffalo, Miami last week. This might take it to another level, though. Talk to me. Do you like a side in this game or a total?
Lean towards the Ravens in this game. Not necessarily excited about getting involved. There's so much going on here. Number one, I think the Bills might have a chance of being undervalued coming off a loss where they absolutely dominated Miami statistically in that game, just couldn't get it done. And then you're looking at a Ravens team that had a lot of good breaks to win and cover against New England here. So I lean towards taking the Ravens when this line moves back to 3.5, because since it was there before, I think there's a great chance it will get there, especially when public money comes in on Josh Allen and the Bills. The play that I prefer, however, is the under. I think the market is correct on its original move, driving this down. Look at the idea of Josh Allen. He threw the ball 63 times last game. That's not sustainable. I think there should be a conceded effort from this team to go ahead and knock down his workload with his arm. They should be trying to run the ball more. The same thing with the Baltimore Ravens. I know Lamar Jackson's doing great so far, but they're going to have to get these running backs involved if they're going to be able to compete for the Super Bowl. Both coaches know this. So I expect to see more running in this game, and both teams have a fairly good defense. Now, the main concern for Buffalo, of course, is all the injuries in the secondary. Trey White's still out. Micah Hyde probably out for this year. And they played with a bunch of rookies going into the game against Miami. So that can be a concern. But will Lamar take advantage of that, or will they try and go ahead and run the ball? I'm going with the latter. My favorite play here is the under.
Ooh, all right. So we see some money coming in on the under, Mangone, and then I look at the DFS side of things, and I say to myself, to me, it's not even close, just the top 3 guys, 2 of them from this game. And then if you want to go down lower, we could talk about a couple of cheap guys later, but Allen's 8,400 on DK, Jackson's 8,300 on DK, and then there's Hurts at 8,200. If you had to pick a quarterback, I mean, you could pick both in your lineups. Do you have a lean toward one? And then what about the rest of the plays in this game? Mark Andrews seems to be leading. I think he had like 48% of the target share last week, something ridiculous. How about these quarterbacks and their weapons, Mangone?
Yeah, Josh Allen, 8.4K, Lamar Jackson, 8.3K. It's just, you got to make a decision. Which one do you think is best? In tournaments, I think one of the arguments that you can make is if you do play like Mark Andrews and Lamar Jackson, the idea is you're just trying to like win at the tight end position, right? You're just trying to kind of take advantage of the field not having or not being able to get a big score and lap the field there and then catch up in other areas. So that's the argument to stack those guys up together if you would like. Rashad Bateman at 5'6" and Duvernay at 4'1", definitely good tournament plays that I think getting exposure to is not a bad idea. You also have J.K. Dobbins, who's 5'3". Like, as the season goes on, he is going to be a legit option. He's going to be someone that we need to consider. So I think overall, pretty good play here. All these Ravens, they're definitely going to be in the conversation, especially with the Bills secondary being pretty banged up. I do want to go back over to the Buffalo Bills. So I think if I have to pick a quarterback, it's Josh Allen. I think it's always Josh Allen. If I have to pick one and it's close, it's just going to be him. I mean, he's basically the goal line back in a way, not 100%, but he definitely gets a lot of those goal line carries. So does Lamar Jackson, very similar. But at the end of the day, Josh Allen is just the better quarterback, in my opinion. So I'll bet on him as long as price does not matter. Stephon Diggs is 8.4K. Definitely a really good option that you can get into your lineups. He was chalked last week and busted. He's the most expensive receiver on the slate. There's about, I think, 6 receivers over the 7K price tag. So I'm curious to see what the ownership ends up being on these guys above 7K. I do think you're going to see ownership be a little higher on these guys. So I'm curious to see how that all shakes out. Gabe Davis at 6'6". He underwhelmed a ton, but he was on the field, I think, for like maybe 87% of the snaps or something high. Maybe it was in the 90s too. So he was out there. Yes, he didn't have a great game, but I think you can go back to a well on him at 6.6K. I think he's going to be a really strong tournament play. I think Dawson Knox is interesting at 3.8K. And Holden, let me go to the Walmart burgers of Devin Singletary. I mean, the guy you take a risk.
Oh, hold on a sec. Let's give Mangone a round of applause here. He said he liked Singletary and Edmonds last week. Only reason I had a Singletary lineup was because Mangone said it. Tua didn't stay out the rest of the game, and there was a nice min cash there, Mangone, but good calls last week.
Yeah, well, I'm glad your Singletary min cash. I don't know if mine did. I can't remember. But Singletary crushed. I was screaming it all week long. So I basically wanted to say, hey, he could end up getting you a 2 1 week, but it's not about that. It's about, hey, attacking these games where like we have a 50 total and we have running backs that are just, you're hoping they just fall into the end zone. Like if you're going to play like the spend a bit receiver strategy or just like jammed in the mid-tier receivers, what's the difference between some of these guys in the 5K range that like are in these high totals? You're just praying they fall in the end zone, and they could certainly fall in the end zone twice and get it home for you. Also, Devin Singletary was heavily involved in that pass game. So if you do think it's a game that this team is going to be like back and forth on, it's going to be more of a shootout where you see passing happen. It seems like Singletary is more of the guy for that role. So overall, I think he's in the conversation again, especially because I'm considering punting my running backs a ton. And if I'm going to do that, J.K. Dobbins at 5'3" in the conversation, Singletary at 5'9", he's in the conversation. And like, I wouldn't sleep on James Cook just because he saw a decent amount of targets last week. I mean, he saw 5 of them. I do think he's going to be a little bit involved. And as the season goes on, I would not be surprised if he gets a little more involvement. And he could end up by the end of the year stealing the job from Singletary. That just wouldn't surprise me with how talented of a back he was in college. So overall, think that if I am punting positions like the running back spot, I want to do it with high totals where I feel like I can just get my guy to fall into the end zone. And there's going to be a lot of points scored in this game. So certainly want to look at running backs too, just because they can easily get there.
Yeah, I'll say this again. Mark Andrews leads all receivers in target share at 36.5%. Lamar went to him 48% of his passes last week. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then on the other side of the thing, you got Diggs, who's tied for the league lead in 11.7. That's just the chalk from that game. There's going to be other plays as well. Okay, that's game number 1. Again, the next games we'll get to: Jags, Eagles, Seattle and the Lions, Cleveland and the Falcons, Broncos, Raiders, and Thursday Night Football. But let's do our Members Never Win segment and get that going, because members won a ton of money. By the way, Mangone, you talked to Big T a lot. Who's calling him a hillbilly? I mean, who called him a hillbilly? I want to know.
A lot of people do. They always call him that.
Do they really?
It is. Yeah, a lot of people do. And always people are always like, yeah, I understand why he's from Kentucky. And I'm like, he's not. He's from Denver. Like, you don't actually get that. Like, it's actually hilarious when people do. But yeah, he's not a hillbilly. But hey, you can call me a hillbilly 24/7 if I'm running like Big T. So I'm very much happy to take the hillbilly title if I could run that.
He doesn't like being called it, but he's the best DFS player in the world right now. And it's just as simple as that. And it's a big reason why RPS is doing so well. And if you remember and you followed his core on the showdown slate, you won. I mean, I don't even know how much money our guys won. Maybe $500,000. Look at this. Big T took home 280. Congratulations. You hit for more than $250,000. You get a congratulations from me. ESPN 24 hours, 7K. Our subscriber JCOM, $70, got back $7,000 on the showdown slate. Derek Ball, B Walsh, $45. They got over $10,000 in winnings. BP Consi, $90, got $10,000 back. We've also got Jeffy B, Newens, MVY, Lettle, Armed Rodri, Hard Work, DFS Dom, all hitting for over 10K. And these are just the subscribers that told us that they won. Who knows about the guys that didn't win? Jay Gingery, $245, got back 12K. That's a nice return. Gators, Master, APAC, $13,000 each. Guy Nation, Matt Guy, he's the cornhole dude, right? 20K. TaylorMade, 20K. And then our coordinators, Rubio hit for 19K. Big T hitter, just beat him out. And then Uncle T, not only does he get a Yeti and a DK thermos, but he also got $27,000. I think he played like $345, and came back with 27K. So it was an excellent weekend for the RPS team. And I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. It usually happens 2-3 times a year where everybody just ships during the football season. And I think you're going to want to get in before it's all said and done. Maybe we want to get in on the Jaguars before it's all said and done. 2-1 right now. They are number 4 in defensive DVOA, and they got a game coming up against the red hot Philadelphia Eagles spread. And, I look at this game. Here we are, the Jaguars plus 6.5 on the road. I mean, aren't the Eagles a touchdown better? Total here is 47. Talk to me, spread. This is interesting because I just think the Jaguars gotten off to a nice start, but the Eagles are a much better team.
Are they?
I think so. No, they're not.
I mean,
talk to me.
Are they 6.5 points better? Here's my concern, man. I really want to go heavy on the Jaguars here. I really like the way they actually match up with the Philadelphia team. My concern here is travel. After playing Los Angeles last week, of course, coming off a big win, they got everybody telling them how great they are, and then they have to turn around and travel up to Philadelphia. Let's not mention the fact, we need to mention the fact that their practice schedule is being disrupted this week. They have a lot going on in Jacksonville. So those situational spots are taking me away. But if you look at this as a football team, first of all, Jacksonville drafts in like the top 5 every year. So they have a bunch of blue chip talent on this defense. The defense looked great against Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. How much of that was Herbert's injury, and how much is the fact that this is actually a really good team? Of course, they had problems in week 1 against the Commanders, so we all thought same old Jaguars, but they've looked pretty good since then, shutting out an Indianapolis Colts team that turned around and beat the Chiefs, and then going to the Chargers, everybody's darling Super Bowl pick preseason, right? And Bosa and Mack looked pretty quiet in that game. Trevor Lawrence showing up, showing some of the skill and potential that he's shown. I think this is a great spot here. Not a great spot here, but I think it's a great development with him being with Doug Peterson. Now, Doug Peterson, Travis, I'm stealing your thunder. It's a revenge game. He's heading back to Philly. The team that fired him, they went with Howie Roseman over him. This was not a performance firing. It was just simply the fact that Roseman and Peterson could not get on the same page on how they want to build this team. Now he comes back with one of the best quarterback talents here. So I don't love this because of the situational spot, Holden, especially with the hurricane disrupting their lives down in Jacksonville. I don't know how much that is weighing on this guys and how much that's going to ruin the preparation of this team. But my numbers like the Jaguars, and if it was a better spot and we didn't have a hurricane coming in, I'd probably be making that bet as well. Numbers also telling me to take the under here. And I think that might correlate to the Eagles win, the idea that Jacksonville's unprepared and this awesome Philadelphia Eagles defense shuts them down.
All right, talk to me here, Mangone. Am I just off and not buying the Jaguars just yet? And talk to me about the bet first. 6.5 is the spread. And then obviously in DFS, I think you got to start with Jalen Hurts in this game. Talk to us.
Yeah, I think if I had to pick something, and I would probably take the 6.5 or even try to wait for the 7. Don't know if you'll get it, but not saying I don't think this. I'm not a believer on both sides. I'm not a huge believer in the Eagles just being the best team in the league or anything. I know people are talking they're just incredible. I'm just not sold yet. I want to keep watching. I want to keep evaluating. Don't have to make the decision right now. I'm not placing a bet for them to win the Super Bowl. If you want to, go right ahead. Sure, bet it. But I just want to wait and see a little bit. I think this is at least one of their tougher games on their really awful schedule that you look at, which is as crazy as that sounds. And I'm curious to see how the Jaguars are. I'm not crowning them as just a really good football team yet. The problem with the Jaguars is they just won their first road game in 18 games. It's been forever since they won a road game. So I do think that.
But don't you have to throw last year out with one of the worst coaches in NFL history?
Well, what about the year before? I know the year before and the year before and the year before don't matter that much, but
when they had Blake Bortles.
Yeah. Again, so you're totally buying into Trevor
I get what you're
Lawrence.
saying, Spread, but I don't know. Losing teams lose until they prove it otherwise. When does the script flip? Do you think it's now? I don't know. I'm not sold it's now just because they beat Justin Herbert, where he was yes, he made some passes that looked like himself, but I expected inconsistency from him. I just don't think that I want to just go out here and crown the Jaguars as this incredible football team right now. I want to just take the wait and see approach. And I'm probably going to do that in DFS too, just because I do think the Eagles, the one thing they're great at is their offensive line is awesome. And the thing about the Eagles is if it's the fourth quarter and the game is tight, they're going to ground and pound and control and kill some clock out. So yeah, it's nice to obviously have the team that's trailing in that spot, but they could really kill some clock out and really take advantage of teams with the way that they run the ball. So I'm a little cautious of this game DFS wise. I think if the ownership is low on some of these players, I'm more intrigued. Like AJ Brown, I think could be a really good option. I think Dallas Goedert is a really safe play. I think Jalen Hurts, we know how he can be every week. He's going to be in play basically. I think you bring up a really good point about these like Jaguars receivers. Christian Kirk, I think he's going to be a guy that's heavily involved this season and schemed open. I don't know if this is the game to do it, but if you tell me the dude is 1% owned, it's kind of interesting because I don't think anyone wanted to play him last week against the Chargers, and look what he did. I think him and Zay Jones are guys you cannot ignore completely, and I wouldn't even ignore Marvin Jones. So you just know what their upside is. If Marvin Jones had like a 3-touchdown game, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, yes, that is like, that's not expected, but the guy can definitely go out there and make plays. So they got 3 playmakers at receiver that are likely in a trailing script and just shouldn't be ignored DFS wise. So overall, I think this is a game that we should consider, but I think ownership is going to matter. If this ownership is higher, I'd be a little more concerned. If it's lower, then it might be wheels up for me. I might just jump on this game as a little bit of a stack.
I'm worried about targeting this Eagles defense this week. And then you got James Robinson. Now, I will say this. James Robinson looks like a complete freaking stud, and they've thrown a lot, but the last 2 weeks, he's got 40 carries. He scored a touchdown in all 3 games. He's catching passes. So James Robinson, people, it's going to be ATN. Well, guess what? Robinson's heavily involved. I'll just ask you this. If I'm rolling with Hurts this week and I got a decision, do I spend the 7,400 on AJ Brown, Mangone, or do I save the 1,600 and chase Devontae Smith's big week again?
Yeah, I'm not like a huge Devonta Smith guy. He feels like someone I might just like stay away from for the most part this season, but because I think you're gonna have like wide range of outcomes with him. I think it's the AJ Brown show this year. I think he's gonna have a big year, so I'm kind of just riding him out. I think he is gonna be a little bit lower owned, but I need to see what the ownership is. I think that's like a super important part with these receivers. If one receiver is 25% and another one's 5%, and like they're very similar plays, then the 5% guy is just the better option. I mean, it's just the truth. I mean, you saw last week, Justin Jefferson, smash spot, couldn't miss, right, Holden? Stephon Diggs, smash spot, couldn't miss, right? Like they just, the range of outcomes is so wide on these receivers unless your name is Cooper Kupp. So let's just make sure that we're like considering ownership a lot when we talk about these receivers, because I think it matters a ton.
All right, guys, like button would be awesome. Let's get going. It's wonderful. KS Jackson, I have no idea what you're talking about. But again, thumbs up, whether you're watching this live or you're watching this on tape. Giving some great information here from Spread and Mangone. And we're going to get into our third game here. And all right, so we talked about the Jaguars. Now we get to talk about the Sea Lions, Seattle and the Detroit Lions. Spread, I will say this, it does not look like DeAndre Swift is going to play this week. As of right now. And as a matter of fact, Dan Campbell said, we kind of expected this to happen to Swift, keeping him healthy all season long. It's a tough position. He's been getting his ass kicked. So keep that in mind that one of the most explosive players on the team likely will be out, but it is what, 4? I got 4 right now. Lions are 4-point favorites. Like when the hell should the Lions ever be 4-point favorites? Total here is 48.5 spread. Let's start with this. The Lions are favored. I don't give a damn how bad the Seahawks are. Do we really trust the Lions to cover a 4?
The market completely agrees with you, Holden. This opened at 5.5. I loved it at 5.5. And as the market continues to bet it down, it becomes less and less attractive. But you're spot on. This team is great against the spread. Why? Because you're usually catching between 6 to 8 points and they keep it close at the end after getting blown out. And Jared Goff carves up and eats up prevent defense is the way the Mangone eats up Walmart hamburgers. So that's what's going on there in Detroit. Now, I'm not ready to lay points with this team. I'm hoping there's some buyback. I should have jumped in early. I didn't think that Seattle will be so popular because let's be honest, there's not a lot positive going on with this team. Geno Smith is a backup caliber quarterback. He's shown that consistently. He had the great quote in week 1, but overall, he hasn't done as much to really prove that he belongs on this field. The offensive line is still having issues. They have 2 great receivers in Seattle, but the defense can be suspect. I don't know if I trust Jared Goff and company to carve them up, though. I like taking the points here. And then once again, I like the under here. All my numbers are coming in under on the market this week. So maybe that's just a correction I need to make. But unders have been doing really well this NFL season. You know what I think has a lot to do with that, Holden, is the fact that a lot of these teams, now that we're going to the 17-game schedule, they're using this section of the season as preseason. They're getting their things together. These offenses aren't fully humming. And once they get time to go, these numbers are going to start flying up. But as of right now, the defenses seem a lot more in sync than the offenses, which is why I think a lot of my games are spitting out unders. Once again, I like the under here, and I'll take the points with Seattle.
Speaking of those point score, I read a really interesting article. This season's games are averaging 42 points per game. That's 5 points less than the first 3 weeks of last season and lower than any season since 2010. The rate of catchable balls is down 2%, which is a ton. Deep safeties, cover 2 zone, that usage is up about 2.5%, which actually is a lot when you're thinking about a game inside a game. So, and you got a lot of blitzing too. This is the most blitzing. They're up 38.5% on blitzes compared to 27.5 over the last 4 seasons. So there's a lot of different reasons here, Spread, but I think it's interesting you bring that up because at some point in time, these offenses are going to have to adjust to this new too high safety.
And so exactly what I was going to say. The too high safety is the reason Holden people are just giving up on stopping the run. And they've understand we need to blitz because they've legislated pass defense out of the secondary. Mm-hmm. So you have to get pressure on the quarterback. These teams are selling out, going all in because what's the point? Your zone's going to get carved up anyways. You don't really want one of those 7 or 8 second plays because all it takes is a little bit of incidental contact. And that flag's coming out for the automatic first down. So these defensive coordinators, they want this to go quick. They're bringing the heat because otherwise they're getting carved up anyways. I think you make great points. And this is a copycat league. These guys will figure it out by week 8 or 9, how to beat this too high safety. Maybe a little more running backs. Maybe by week 8 or 9, Mangone will not be punting on the running back position anymore. But the fact that they're bringing the blitz is a great point, and the fact that everyone switched to the too high.
All right, let's get into this here, man. Going with Seattle and Detroit. We love targeting Detroit. Detroit's put up some nice numbers. Geno Smith has surprised, had some decent games. Again, Swift not looking good. Amon-Ra St. Brown nursing an ankle. And outside of that, I think those are just the 2 really big ones. So maybe we start with Jamal Williams. Could Robinson be in the mix there? And some of your plays from Seattle, Detroit, Mangone.
Sorry, Holden. I was addressing a chatter that is complaining about something, and I don't know what it is, but I just said, hey, DM me or hit up info@RunPureSports, and we'll try and sort it out. But I can't make any promises, but we'll try to look into it and see what happens. But that's what we do at RunPure, Holden, right? We try to help people out. So
I was about to do that too. I was like, hey, KS Jackson, and we were going to just hit up info@RunPureSports. We'll find out why. I had to email Bet365 why a $100 unit better, a little better like me, got limited. Why the hell would they limit me?
Because you were winning money, Holden. You're not allowed to win money.
Fuck them. That's very frustrating. Anyways,
Bet365 is notorious for that.
They're the worst.
Yeah,
they're the worst.
And they have great lines too, which is why it sucks.
Don't use them. I got limited to $4.71.
Well, you use them, but when you use them, you hit them early and then you just run away. But the problem is if you some of the sites sometimes like you could like lose a couple bets early and like they'll just be like, no, like they understand like you're like betting props and like you've got like you're getting good lines and they're like, well, you're ahead, and they just don't like it.
I hate them. Anyways, what about this Seattle Detroit game, Mango?
Yeah, Seattle Detroit is definitely worth talking about here. It's a decent total. It's in a dome, 48 total. The issue I have with like Seattle, like these running backs, yes, they're cheap. Rashad Penny, Kenneth Walker, and DJ Dallas. Good luck figuring out which one's going to get the ball, though. That's like one of the huge concerns. You can kind of roll the dice on it in tournaments if you want, but I'm not making any promises for you. DK Metcalf, 6'8", Tyler Lockett, 5'9". Tyler Lockett, I think, fits this PPR format really well over on DraftKings because for the price, maybe he's not going to break like an 80-yarder for you, but those chunk yardage plays could definitely get the job done. If he gets one touchdown, I mean, it could be enough at that price tag of 5'9" to get you to 20 DK points. So I think he's good and in the conversation because Geno Smith isn't really a deep ball guy, right? He is going to kind of pepper those guys for those shorter targets. So, yeah, I think that Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, they're in play because they're going against the Lions in a dome, and that secondary is not that great. We can definitely target it. We saw Carson Wentz tear it up. Certainly, Geno Smith has the chance to. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's 7.7K. Feels expensive. He does have that injury tag, so I'm curious to see how that shakes out throughout the week. It's kind of going to have to be part of the decision-making process. We also have big news in this game. Swift is not going to play, it looks like. So with Swift not playing, Jamal Williams, 6.1K. That's a pretty nice price tag. Lions are favorites at home, and they're 5-point favorites. This is something sometimes that you look at, Holden, and you're like, okay, you're almost a touchdown favorite. You're at home in a dome. The backfield's yours. How do you not look at Jamal Williams? He's going to be a very strong play, something that I look to get to. And then I think you could make the argument too, like if you wanted to go cheap and do like a skinny stack and you wanted to play Jamal Williams, why not play Noah Fant? Why not maybe take a shot at Will Dissly? Like those guys are so cheap. All they got to do is get you to like 10 DK points and like 30 points with like 2 catches and a touchdown. I could get you home. So I don't think it's like the craziest thing to consider those guys like a small stack option to get exposure to this game. So overall, it's a good one. It's not the greatest game to go to. It's not one I'm like, hey, let me load the boat on and stack up like I felt like with Washington and Detroit a couple weeks ago. But I think it's a game that's definitely in the conversation this week for cash games and tournaments.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, hit the like button, whether you're watching live or on tape. Again, we did members never win. It's just a monster showdown slate for everybody here at RPS. If you haven't checked the site out, make sure you do it. runpuresports.com. And don't forget the bet side, runpurebets.com. Spread part of the team over there. I saw Tyler killing it. We got a good Discord where we go back and forth talking to each other. And then Spread, your bread and butter, NBA. What are we, 3 weeks away?
Yeah, we're already getting media day drama there, Holden, but we'll get into that on a different show.
Oh, with your DeAndre Ayton, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was good times, good stuff. We got, 3 more games to get to? Yes, we do. Browns, Falcons, Raiders, Broncos, and Thursday Night Football. Now it's time to go to Browns and Falcons. Gross, right? Right, Spread? This is gross. Jacoby Brissett, but Marcus Mariota, at least we'll talk about him in DFS, has not been bad. Falcons 1.5-point dogs at home. 49.5 is the total. We don't know if Myles Garrett is going to play or not, but good luck to the Falcons trying to stop Nick Chubb. Is it? I don't know. This line is cockamamie to me. I don't want anything to do with this game from a betting side. I'll do it DFS, but Spread, how do you handicap this thing?
Yeah, this is another one where I'm with you here. So my numbers tell me to take Browns on the side. I don't know if I want to do it because I don't know how to. We ran these numbers before Myles Garrett got into the accident. And I don't really know how to appropriately adjust for him going against an Atlanta team that has problems, had problems on the offensive line. And one of the reasons that they look better with Mariota at the helm, not necessarily because Mariota is a better quarterback, but he is a more mobile quarterback, which does take away some of those deficiencies of that line with his ability to move in the pocket, keep plays moving. And I think it's great for the 2 weapons he had. Kyle Pitts finally gave through on the DFS side with another big game. Drake London is everything advertised so far. So they have 2 weapons there, and you can't count out Cordell Patterson. So this is a tough one. Another one with the Falcons, coming off a big win, a big travel here. Situation isn't the best. Numbers say to take the Browns. My head says lean the Falcons here, grabbing points at home. But the play I really like, once again, Holden, and I know I'm a broken record, but it's the under. You haven't adjusted. If these games are coming in at 42, they're not dropping these lines. This line opened at 49.5 here. And I understand, yes, the Falcons do have a nice offense here, and they don't have the best defense. Usually that's a prescription for and over, especially on fast turf indoors at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. However, I would argue that Cleveland understands, you talked about Nick Chubb. That's going to be the way to beat this team. That's going to run a lot of time off this clock here. So I lean towards the Falcons. My favorite play, once again, is the under.
Ooh, an under in a Falcons game. Okay, let's hear it.
Huh?
Yeah. I mean, who'd have thunk it? Drake London is a complete badass, Mangone. On the Atlanta side, I think he's somebody you can kind of start with. Are you buying into Cordero Patterson, Mariota? I wonder what your thoughts are on him. And then on the other side, to me, it's kind of like Nick Chubb. I get it. He didn't catch a lot of passes, but he's running with his hair on fire, dude. And he's getting the volume. And how do you not start with him in this game?
The reason why it's hard to start with him is because he's 7.9K and he's a running back, right? But it's obviously a good game to get exposure to. The Falcons are not that great, but I kind of don't mind attacking them with someone like Amari Cooper at 6.3K, who has a ton of upside. I mean, Jacoby Brissett definitely locked in on him a little bit more. This Falcons secondary, it's not very good. 6.3K. That's just like a price tag where like you have a huge ceiling. Like these guys in this range, there's a lot of them that have the opportunity, like Gabe Davis. He got 30 DK points. No one would be surprised. Amari Cooper got 30. No one would be surprised. No one's saying it's going to happen, but it's in the range of outcomes for him. And that's why sometimes I like just going these like mid-tier receivers instead of going like one high tier and one low tier option. I just think that you just have an insane ceiling with that route. So I also think David Njoku at 3.7K, really good tight end that I want to consider on this slate. I think the price tag is still good. So I'm definitely looking and considering him here at 3.7. On the other side, I'm just not as excited when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. I think Marcus Mariota is fine in cash. Like, sure, no problem there. Drake London, interesting at 6.1K. Don't mind it. I think he has upside for his price. If this game shoots out, it is in a dome, so that's at least encouraging. Cordell Patterson, 6.5K. The biggest problem I'm having with him is they're not using as much in the pass game, which has been a huge concern. And at that price, I think I'd rather just take some gambles on some other cheap options or find my way up to Nick Chubb somehow. And then Kyle Pitts at 5K. Sure, he did fine last game. Hopefully they give him some red zone opportunities, but dude didn't win you the slate. I mean, he was okay, but I still think at that price, I can take a gamble somewhere else. I think Dallas Goedert is a safer play with more upside than I do Kyle Pitts right now. That's just my opinion on it. I'm okay to fade him. I don't think if you fade him, Holden, I don't think you're just going to be like, oh, Kyle Pitts put up that 28-point game and I got destroyed and he separated at the position. I just don't see it happening right now. I'm going to keep taking that wait and see approach. Hasn't burned me that much this year. I kind of stopped like chasing him, but like after the London stuff, I was like, okay, I don't know if I need to go there that much more. And I'm just going to like be a little cautious with him. If I fall on that range, that's fine. But I really think I prefer Dallas Goedert over a Kyle Pitts this week.
Kyle Pitts, just stop it already. That's all I can say. Maybe it's not his fault. Maybe it's the quarterback play. Unmute, buddy.
Yeah, sorry. It's not his fault, Holden. This is the thing that people don't like think about when they roster their players, because in the moment when they're clicking buttons, they're like, Kyle Pitts, he's only 5K. Well, you know what else you're doing, Holden? You're investing in the coach. You're investing in the team, the offensive line, the tempo they play at, the game script. And people don't always think about that when they're clicking on the names, because they sit there and they're like, oh, it's CMC. He's a boss. And they just plug him in. Well, are you thinking about that you have Baker Mayfield as the quarterback? Like, those are just things that we have to think about. Like one point that Brent's brought up earlier, when guys are dropping back and passing, and if there's 8 seconds for them to run around back there and then you just bump into a guy and it's a flag, like that's why pass games are like taking advantage of like the league and being like the way to go now. Like that is the reason. So you need to think about the actual game. Like if I'm investing in the Cleveland Browns, one reason I like investing in that offense, Holden, the offensive line is really, really good. Like it's awesome. So like, that's why I want to invest in like not Jacoby Brissett, but I want to invest in the other pieces. I want to invest in Nick Chubb. I want to invest in Amari Cooper, because what happens is when you have time to throw the ball, you see what happens with your receivers. Why are these Bengals receivers? Why have they really not been on a lot of the winning lineups so far? That offensive line has been an absolute disaster. Now, T. Higgins was on pace to kind of break that slate, but the point I'm getting at here, Holden, is people have to think about those other pieces that are important. Those pieces are the quarterback throwing you the ball, the coach that's calling the plays, the offensive line that's protecting too. Those matter. And people, you go on and ask, hey, who's this offensive lineman? Who's this defensive lineman? They don't even know it. I don't even know all the names of them. I know some of them, but I look at the rankings because I think it's very, very important. And I look at the injuries on Sunday, because if a team loses 3 offensive linemen, you better believe I'm playing a defense against them, because that cohesion is just going to be an absolute disaster. And it's just something people don't think about enough in DFS, in my opinion.
All right, guys and girls, like button would be great. Subscribe to our channel. We're up near 11,000. That happened fast. Bottom right-hand corner, red button. Let's go do that. And let's get into our last main slate game. That's going to be Broncos Raiders spread. This was a 1.5 point spread. And then we saw it get pushed to 2, and now 2.5 with the Raiders favored at home, looking to win a game. Devontae Adams, he's struggling, and he's upset. He's frustrating. You've got Carr. Which one is it? It's Derek Carr or David Carr? I always screw this up. Derek Carr. Derek, right? You got Derek Carr, who has struggled picking up McDaniel's new system. McDaniel sucks. Then you've got Nathaniel Hackett, who looked much better now that he's not the head coach and he's the offensive coordinator, basically. So a lot of moving pieces in this game. Adams and Surtan's going to be an amazing matchup. I wish Surtan would shadow him. I don't think that's going to happen. Talk to me here with the Broncos and the Raiders total.
I'm really surprised. I mean, is he
not
that much
very
better
good.
than Josh McDaniels? Who what is his record since that 6-0 start with your team? You weren't in Denver.
I don't know, but
then,
he's
right?
0-3 this year, and he's awful. He's not a good.
I think he was 1-11 to finish his career in Denver.
Let's start here, spread. I'll ask this question. You got to take Derek Carr and McDaniels, or you got to take Hackett and Russell Wilson. Which combo do you like most?
Hackett and Russ.
I'm the other way. I'll take Carr and McDaniels.
Unbelievable. Okay.
Russell Wilson is not good right now. He is really bad. Like Hackett, are you a believer? Why are you a believer in him? The dude literally.
It's not. It's just I get Russ over Derek Carr.
Okay, I'll take Carr over Wilson right now for sure.
That's surprising to me.
I'll say this though, guys. The one thing about
game.
Hackett, sorry, spread. Hackett actually isn't the head coach now during the game. They got Rosberg up in the booth telling him what to do. All Hackett's doing is calling the plays. And I think that's why you saw a lot less dysfunction. So I'm almost starting to lean toward Hackett being better than McDaniel because Hackett had a lot of the decision-making taken away from him.
And that's the self-awareness to understand that the game was moving too fast for you and you weren't getting the plays into your quarterback in time and it was hampering the whole offense. Now you could be, stubborn. I don't feel that he was stubborn here. So here's my thing, Holden. You and I both know these rosters so well. Raiders are my favorite team. You work in the Denver market discussing this team day in and day out. What player on the Raiders defense could start on this Broncos defense? Like Max Crosby, you could argue, but I mean, how much with him against Randy Gregory or Bradley Chubb? I mean, who are you replacing here?
The
defensive personnel is so much higher on this end of the ball. And I haven't seen anything from this Raiders offense to indicate that they're going to turn it around this week. They really struggled against Tennessee. Darren Waller's dropping balls left and right. He's another one kind of living off the beginning of last year and all those great games that he had in the first half of last year. End of the year wasn't that good, has not been good so far. Hunter Renfrow still dealing with the effects of the concussion. And the other thing that really concerns me with this Raiders team is their below average offensive line. And you know from watching Gregory and Chubb what can happen if you try and roll out some scrubs against those guys. Derek Carr, when he gets hit early, he starts moving his feet around. He gets nervous. Things aren't going his way. And then I also think that he's not enough of a guy that just does his own thing. I think he listens to his coach a little too much. And hey, maybe he'll get the system down. It took him about a year to get the Gruden system down. Then he ran it really well. So maybe there's hope for this team in the future, right? I'm not saying Josh McDaniels should be fired. I'm just saying we need to lower and temper our expectations for a team where the guy brings in this calculus level system and then expects these guys to pick it up right off the bat. I think we can expect from the fantasy side, they will try and get Devontae Adams more involved. There's been a lot of talk about that this week. And then I don't think, I know Carr's thinking I got to, spread the ball around. I'm a point guard style quarterback, right? I get everyone involved in the game. Well, they've proved that they don't deserve the opportunities. If you're Darren Waller, you can't go to the huddle and say, hey, why aren't you throwing it to me when you drop the touchdown pass? And then, of course, tip the touchdown pass for an interception there last week. So I'm really surprised here that Denver's catching points. I think they're getting to the point that they're going to be undervalued because of the egg they laid on primetime. And boy, talk about lowering the levels from all Madden to pro, going against that San Francisco 49ers defense, which I think is a top defense in the league. Then you go against the Raiders team, which has really struggled, not only personnel wise, but then they have some injuries. Nate Hobbs might still be out. Perryman might not be 100%. This team is really hurting from an injury perspective here. So unfortunately, I have to pick against my favorite team. I hope they get it done. I hope my pick's wrong, but we haven't seen anything on the football field to indicate that's going to happen. So I know Travis is really down on Russell Wilson. Are you going to go opposite of me here? Is this the one that we're going to be able to victory lap or take the L on next week here, Travis?
Well, this is my scare. This is the part I'm most scared of. Like, I talk about things that matter and like offensive line matters, right? Like defenses matter. Like this Raiders defense. Do we like this Raiders defense? Like I'm pretty worried about them. So, but Russell Wilson has been pretty bad. So this is a game I'll admit when Holden sent me the schedule, I was like, can I find a game better than this? Because I don't
Nope.
really want to talk about it. But here we are. We got to talk about Devontae Adams at his price, because I do think he's in the conversation and he's a good play. So I don't want to talk about those running backs there, because those running backs are just not that great overall. So Devontae Adams, Darren Waller in the conversation. If Hunter Renfrow somehow is in concussion protocol again and Mac Hollins' price is cheap, I mean, you could consider that again. But yeah, I'm not super excited about a lot of these options in this game. You can make an argument for Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. I think their price tags always matter. I think that's a really important part. 6'4" on Sutton, 5'5" on Jeudy. I always want to know what the price is, and I want to know what the ownership is going to be, because I don't see a huge difference between these guys. I do lean Sutton over Jeudy, but I don't think it's that big of a difference for sure. And then I wonder if Alberto, 3.3K. He's someone that everyone was really, really high on in week 1. They saw kind of like the opportunity he got. Then week 2, people liked him. Week 3, people weren't as much on him. How low will that ownership be? I mean, tight ends, we know some weeks they just absolutely dud, and some weeks they pop back off. Maybe we take advantage of the field just thinking Alberto is like not a great play, and maybe we just go back to the well on him because that price could be too cheap at that 3.3K price tag. So overall, I think this game's in the conversation, but I think there's other games that I just kind of prefer right now, because I don't love investing in these two coaches. I don't love investing in both of these offenses with my money. I mean, I got Big T in the chat making fun of me though and saying Russell Wilson's going to ship $1 million over my head. And the way this man's running, I need to at least think about it. I mean,
did he really say that? Now I have to play. It's fucking brutal.
And now, here's the thing. I'm not going to follow everything Big T says, right? But I'm going to at least think about it more. I'm not going to be blind and ignorant. Like, one thing that happened, Spread, I'll admit, I was really thinking about just going on Twitter and saying, Miami plus 3.5, ship it. You know what I mean? Like against the Bengals this week, but I am scared of that spot. And Big T did bring up good points on his tweet. I was like, this is a spot where I could see Miami let us down a little bit. But overall, I don't want to invest in these offenses. I'm currently doing my best to stay away from these teams. I think the one reason I'll be able to get away from them is I think the prices on the Raiders are a little expensive for my liking when it comes to like building up a stack. You can make the argument that on this Broncos side, because when I do play my stacks, I prefer them to be cheap and I prefer them to just like be together and hit together, right? And an idea of going like a Russell Wilson, a Jeudy, and an Alberto, the argument you can make there is it's dirt cheap. And then you could run it with like, I don't know, you could run it with Adams at 8.3, but that like defeats the purpose of what I'm trying to do here. Maybe it's ran with like Hunter Renfrow at 5.3 if he's in, or Mac Hollins, but that is something I look at when I look at stacks. Like, I try to find cheaper stacks. That way, when I build out my cheaper stacks, I can kind of put low-owned studs with my teams. That's just how I prefer to construct lineups. That's why I really liked week 2. Got me everything I wanted. Got me these low-owned receivers, got me the Carson Wentz stack that was dirt cheap, and I just moved on. Last week, I was struggling to find that, and it was a big issue, and I did not find my way to the cash line last week. So when I can find those offenses, and I don't know, that Broncos offense fits the bill a little, so maybe I have to think about it a little bit. That's the one out that I got here, but I'm not loving this game. It's a 45.5 total. It's in a dome. It's fine, but it's not what I'm gravitating towards right now. There's other games that I prefer on this slate.
All right,
did you pick a side? Because I missed it.
I'm scared to pick the Raiders, Fred, because like I think that defense sucks. I think the defense is bad. Like, it's not good. Like, another reason why it just made me laugh is like I thought the Raiders D was not going to be good all year long. And then I remember seeing Derrick Henry just run around and like he just looks like he's throwing ragdolls around. And yes, he does that with almost any team, but that Raiders team just doesn't look good defensively. Like, I am very, very concerned about it. And I was concerned about it going into the season. So, Spread, you don't have to bet every game, right? I'm going to wave the flag and say both these guys suck. Hope that like not as much happens in this game and just move this thing along.
Well, see, I have to get you back because you've been getting the better of me here these first couple of weeks. So I was hoping we'd be able to go head to head on one.
Well, yeah, we're not there yet. We'll get there at some point. I don't want to force it. I want to feel confident in my side. I'll at least say that.
Yeah, definitely. I understand that.
One thing I maybe will have to, I mean, Spread, you got a couple of weeks so you can kind of like really jab me for this, but I mean, the Titans crushed it last week, right? I mean, I said the Titans are downright awful, and hey, so far so good. If they come out and beat the Colts and they start streaking, you can definitely, give me a jab there for sure.
Are you taking the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Colts.
Okay, that's what we're opposite then. I like the Titans this week. We don't have time to break that game down, but we'll victory lap that game.
Okay, I like the Colts this week. I think the Colts are again, I'm not super excited about them, but I'm more down on the Titans. And I think the Jonathan Taylor show could be coming soon. Doesn't mean I'll be spending on him in DFS because, hey, if he gets 25 DK points, that's fine. But some of these other cheaper running backs get like 12, and that's worth it with the way the receiver ceilings are. So, but yeah, I think the Colts are gonna have a good time with the Titans this week.
Is that taunting penalty from the Colts though the worst penalty of all time? I mean, that's just the most ridiculous thing. I'm still not over that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like worst penalties. I mean, the most egregious missed penalty was the Saints game way back in the day, that pass interference. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good one for sure.
Yeah, when you're comparing it to that penalty, I think my point is proven.
Yeah, fair.
Just on this, I'm looking at the worst rushing teams in the NFL right now, and you look at the Broncos rush defense, which is just ridiculous. Raiders 80 yards per game rushing, 28th in the NFL. The Chargers 59 yards rushing, last in the NFL. Rams 72 yards. I mean, we got some teams here. And,
hold on. I got to address Big T in the chat. Anthony, what? I have to address this. You said the Raiders were going to like win the Super Bowl or be like the best team in their division, and they're 0-3. And you're telling me Russ is going to tear them apart? So come on here and take your Raiders L for the season then. Take the L right now, and then you can be on that rush train and talk all this trash because you said how you love the Raiders this year. You were like, Raiders are great. You said they could even win the Super Bowl. So if you're going to be on the rush train week 4 and say, I'm not taking a stand here because I don't love this game, there's lots of games to pick from. I want you to come on and take your L, and then you can move forward and make fun of me for the Broncos.
Were you talking to Big T or someone else?
I'm talking to Anthony. I don't call him.
You're talking to Anthony, not to Big
Anthony.
T.
I'll say that.
Okay. Just remember, Mangone's sick because he ate 12 Walmart hamburgers. Just don't forget that. Like button, even if you're not watching live. And let me bring up one more guy, Cortland Sutton. I don't care how awful Russell Wilson has looked. This guy has a 30+ yard reception in all 3 games. He's got a nice floor. We'll see if the ceiling's going to be there one of these weeks. And this could be the week for Cortland Sutton. So just keep that in mind. He has by far and away been the number 1 target for Russell Wilson, and he's having a better year than they did. I think it was 2019, that big year for him, maybe 2020. So Sutton's off to a really sharp start. Okay. We've got Thursday night football, which is kind of a debacle right now, given the hurricane. If you're in Florida, I hope everything's all right with you. I know my parents are on the other side of the state, but it's pretty gnarly. So we got the Dolphins and the Bengals, right? Bengals 4-point favorites in this game because we don't know enough about Tua. That's the problem. So it's kind of tough to handicap this game like that, guys. 46.5 is the total spread. If we assume Tua is playing, don't we have to kind of back that 4 points? I feel like the numbers baked in, it's shading toward him not playing. Can you talk to me about the spread?
No, it's the worst situational spot of the season. And boy, I know you're not going to be on the old guys pod here tonight, Holden. So I'm going to do the old guys rant here. This Thursday night football is ridiculous. This is one of the best matchups that we should be looking forward to. The hottest team in the AFC going against the reigning AFC champions. And it's been playing on 3 days with these guys preparing for a hurricane. They're all jacked up. These guys need a bye week before these Thursday night games. I'm not saying take away a Thursday night football. I'm saying if you can add a game to the schedule, you can add a bye week to the schedule so these games can be played properly with a proper amount of preparation. The road team is already at such a disadvantage on these Thursday night games because they have to travel an extra day while the home team is preparing, not to mention they're doing hurricane preparations. I mean, this is an absolutely terrible spot. It makes total sense to me that you're getting this Miami team coming off pretty much the ultimate letdown spot, right? They beat their rival, the Bills. They did what nobody said that they could do, and that was take them out. Well, Travis said that. We'll give Travis his credit. But most of us did not think, they would be there and able to do that. Not to mention the grueling conditions of that game. Even the players from Miami were saying, man, we were dog tired. We were cramping too. Don't get down on those Buffalo guys. Buffalo has players from Miami that were cramping, and they said, man, I grew up here, and this was still absolutely ridiculous. So the ultimate fatigue, once again, the road team disadvantage on Thursday night football, which is a cash grab and takes away from us as fans, in my opinion. Let's give these guys a bye week. And then, of course, preparing for that hurricane really puts Miami in a tough spot here. I think the line move is correct, and I won't be surprised if the Bengals just rolled over this team.
I mean, they got it. Yeah, you're right. Mike Fitz, interior of the defensive line for the Bengals, banged up right now. That's interesting to say the least.
Holden's gonna never realize I'm actually on here.
How long
I
you
gotta
been here
come
for?
in. And I mean,
Yes.
Travis is chirping and chirping like I'm not just gonna come on. I mean, take a stand. It's a damn winner's show. Who says I don't have a take on this game?
I mean, who picks the
Spread
Raiders
owned
to
you.
win the
Spread
Super
came
Bowl and then says they're going
and
to
you
lose
got
to the
owned.
Broncos when they're 0-3 and go to 0-4?
I'm gonna back you, Mangone. You shouldn't give a pick that you don't
Oh,
100% back.
don't be a puss. What are you going to put a quarter unit on something like my man Dunkel last year?
Don't
Like,
do it, Mangone.
give me a
Don't do
quarter
it.
Didn't
unit.
Mangone choose the games we were talking about?
Huh?
Didn't he choose the games we were talking about?
I
I don't care what game it is. Take a stand, Travis.
I choose the DFS side. I make sure it's like good for DFS. I don't know if it's chosen for that.
I mean, how do you not pick a side? Come on.
I mean, I didn't want to pick it as a battle against spread.
You don't have to put it on the sheet or something. You got to pick a side.
That's what
and
he
if
was
you watched
asking
all
me.
my shows, you would know I already took over L on my Raiders. I said they sucked.
I do watch all your shows, but I may have fell asleep after the 2.5 hour one that went too long. Like I told you guys, stop going 2.5.
I told him too, Travis. I told him too.
Oh, we seem to get a lot. You two were the only 2 negative reviews. All positive reviews. Everyone else seemed to like it.
I listen to it, but like, I mean, I'll just say you guys, like when I see over 2 hours, I try to power through, and sometimes I listen, it's on like 1.5 or 1.75 speed, and I do miss a thing occasionally here and there.
And I'm coming on to call out Holden because Uncle T said you weren't doing the freaking wishbone. I've been enjoying the wishbone all year. Why your teeth hurt, so you're not allowed to go on a freaking wishbone?
Hey, Mr. Root Canal. I don't want to hear about it. You complain.
Did I
more
miss
about
any
your teeth
shows
than
during my root
anybody.
canals?
You complain more about your teeth than anybody. I don't wanna
Travis,
hear
how
it.
many shows did I miss
he
while
doesn't.
complaining?
This is where I got to be on Anthony's side. I got to
Thank
be
you.
on.
No,
his
you
side.
can't flip to
Anthony's
Yeah,
side.
I
You
gotta
can't
be on
do
his
that,
side.
Exactly.
Mangone eats Walmart hamburgers. That's what we found out on this show.
That's a good point. I mean, but he's not missing a show with the Walmart hamburgers.
That's true. I'm not missing a show. And let me tell you, I'm flying to New Jersey tomorrow. And if I land in and someone's like, hey, I need you on a show, I might do the show from the airport.
Maybe you should just host for Holden since he can't do the freaking wishbone.
This is
He's
cool.
the OG of the wishbone. You got
Big
Uncle
T.
T so sad at lunch. He's like, oh, I was looking forward to the wishbone. I mean, the
Now
guy
you know how
ships
important I
freaking
am, Tony.
28K
Now you know how
and you can't
important
even
I
go
am.
on and stroke him a little bit.
Yeah.
Go on there and stroke him. Give him a little
Big T,
stroke.
Big T,
Well-
the best part about this is I am covering Holden on
He
the
is. He's
MLB
doing my
show,
MLB show while I'm in the
4:45 today.
dentist. I mean, I can't do the show from the dentist.
I agree with that
Fair.
point, but you could do the wishbone.
Probably could do the wishbone.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
prefer
people
not
like
to.
the wishbone. Like they enjoy it. I enjoy listening to it. Spread with the great addition to the show. I loved it. The perfect addition to the show.
Yeah, it is kind of shitty when I'm not on it, isn't it? It's not a
Yeah,
good show.
exactly. They need your leadership.
Tony, I do want to say this, that your bankroll has gone up to the point where I can't congratulate you unless you hit for $250,000.
Oh, now I got hit for 250.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
No
Man,
more 100K. You're hitting too much for the 6 figures. Quarter million or nothing.
Jeez, tough sledding.
All right. Can we do Thursday night showdown? Then can we do that?
We got the showdown guy here.
That's
so
the
it
showdown
makes sense.
king over here.
Cincinnati, I was excited as I was coming on. Spread was talking about it, I think, where Cincinnati's going to pound this team. So it is a public game, though. I think everyone's kind of on Cincy right now. But man, I just don't see how they don't roll them.
Can I make one wager against Big T that he might bite on?
Yes, please.
Can I go arm in arm with JSU on the Brownies and take out your Falcons on the road at the Falcons at home?
I don't even know what
Falcons and Browns.
What's our bet?
I want to take the Browns and you get the Falcons. It's like
They play
-1
this week.
Yeah, they play this week. It's in Atlanta.
It's in Atlanta. What's the number?
-1. It's -1.
Oh,
You've been watching the
definitely
show, Tony?
I started watching when I started talking shit to Travis.
Okay,
that was
okay.
when I started watching.
Okay.
We got in late.
What's the I'm in on that. Yeah. What are we for a hundy?
We'll do it for lunch. I mean, because we'll
Lunch. Yeah, that's even better. I'm definitely in for that. Yeah.
Cool.
But
We'll
Atlanta
do
is so much better than Cleveland. That game's easy, actually. That's a teaser game too.
That's perfect. Lunch in a
Who
couple
spread
weeks.
on in
Love to
that
see
game?
it.
Did you guys already talk about that
Yeah, I
one?
like Atlanta with you too.
Let's
there,
go,
Tony.
Spread. See,
Yeah.
Spread's a man with a lot of winners today. Is there silence after I
Yeah, I
say that?
mean, you
Yeah,
just
no, I
that's what
appreciate
you're
it.
bringing
Yeah.
the
Not
show,
much
you know.
conviction from Holden, though. I mean, he was supposed to like pile on and be like, "Yeah, spread picks winners," and you
Don't
just
blame
sat
this on me. Once again, don't blame it on me. I'm just looking for a retort from Spread, and he must not feel the same way you're feeling.
No, he said he picked them. What do you mean?
Yeah, but not
I'm
as
excited.
confident. Not as confident.
Yeah.
Spread, are you just gonna not be confident?
No, I mean, I told you guys I like Atlanta. I think it is tough there because of the potential letdown spot. But still, when it comes down to it, I just trust their offense a lot more. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. I think we'll see a lot of running the ball. And if people might think I'm crazy, but I think Mariota is better than Brissett. And he's going to be able to move around, and he's going to go ahead and mitigate the fact that offensive line can't block. And then you look at the weapons. I know Amari Cooper had a great game, but he's got multiple weapons there with Patterson, London, and then of course Pitts, who might not be worth the 5K price tag, but he's definitely going to help this team get the W.
You like
All right,
the
boys.
under, though. Oh man, I think we see points in that one.
I mean, we might. It's tough to take an under there, Tony. I was talking about how my model's just shooting out unders on everything, but Holden went over it, how scoring's down so far this year. So when you're using these games that we've had so far, they're putting these totals around 47, 49, and most games are coming in at 42, 44. I'm going to just keep right. We had this same issue with the NBA last year, right?
And
we
baseball
rolled the
this
unders
year.
at the beginning
Everything.
of the season. Yeah. The beginning of the season unders are great. So I'll keep rocking it. And then, when it eventually runs out, so will I.
The only two teams to bet overs every week are Atlanta and Detroit. They got good enough offenses and horrible defense.
And terrible defense.
In my
Yeah, I
mind,
can
just
see that. And they're in domes too.
and they're in
which makes it way
domes.
faster.
Exactly. That was the next point for sure.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are playing Showdown, I highly recommend you do. We had a pretty big week already on Sunday. 1 o'clock Eastern on Thursday, Showdown Print Factory. We'll have Tony, JSU, and Tambo. So going right back to the well there with the Showdown, Tony, JSU, Tambo, 1 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. 1 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. Final thoughts on the slate spread? Favorite bet? Would that be the Falcons?
Oh, this show's freaking over. I was ready to pick winners. We're done already?
Do you want to pick some winners?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't know the show.
Let's let Big T pick some winners.
Yeah, pick some winners.
Of
the games that we discussed, my favorite is gosh, that's tough. Probably the under in the Bills Ravens, but my favorite bet so far is the Titans plus 3.5 going against Travis.
Oh, Titans plus 3.5.
Going against
Oh,
Travis.
God, the Titans are terrible. I got to go with Travis.
There we go. See, Titans are bad
Did he
football.
actually take a pick on this one, or did he ride the fence?
I didn't ride the fence.
picked
That was hurtful to assume I'm riding a fence. I took Snyder Bucks the other day on Twitter. I took DC Bucks the other day on Twitter. I'm taking Big T Bucks on Twitter this week.
Who'd you peel Snyder with?
I peeled him for the Miami against the Ravens week 2.
That
and then
was
I did
sweet.
Miami,
Snyder Bucks too.
Miami
Victory
against the
lapping
Bills
early.
week 3. I didn't want to do Miami against Big T week 4 because I'm a little nervous about that game than normal.
Yeah.
So.
And going, I would side with you, but the risk of you doing a 180 on me again, I'm a little gun shy right now. So maybe next week, okay?
I just go to the winning side, Holden. I don't
just bolt to the other side, man.
How are the Raiders favored over the Broncos? Oh my God.
That was my question too.
Oh,
that's just absolutely wild. And I don't know if you heard it, Tony, but I was like, who on the Raiders could start on this Broncos?
That was when I started watching
it's
the show.
absolutely unreal, the difference in personnel. But boy, when you miss on like 10 first-round picks in a row, the way the Raiders have, I mean, that's what happens.
Also, spread. We have an issue with our Colts and Titans, but I'm going to still give you the hook. But I could price shop this on another book, but I don't need it because that's how bad the Titans are.
Oh my God, that's cocky right there. That's ridiculous.
No, yeah, I mean, it is 3 on DK.
You can get it at 3 and get it at 3.5. There's a bunch of different spots you can get it. That's the problem. Like FanDuel's 3.5, DK's 3. So yeah, that's the.
Don't be making excuses, Travis. You
I
already
told you I didn't. I'm telling you that that's why you use the unabated tool because it's a great tool to help you price shop. But sometimes you don't need the points. You know what you say, Big T? Give them to the next guy.
Exactly. Yep. Correct.
Travis, for your question earlier, would you rather have Rabel Tannehill or Ryan Reich as your coach quarterback combination?
Ryan Probably.
Reich.
I just like Reich a lot, so I'll take him. I'll take him. And
really, I like Vrabel a lot. He just seems to get it done no matter what.
no, I don't.
That's
think
a hard question.
Vrabel's not the one that I love. I've seen him do some egregious punts where it's like, just what are you doing? Like I've seen him
Every coach does egregious punts.
It's true. He's definitely not a bad players coach, right? I think like the players coach, like when the momentum's high, like it rides out real well. But X's and O's, I don't think I'm as big on Vrabel for sure.
I think X's and O's get so overrated. Though.
I was literally, that's what I was going to say, Spread.
Yeah.
I think it's the most overrated thing in football. That's why I like Dan Campbell. Is he X's and O's? Hell no. He probably
He's definitely not. That's why like Pete Carroll was like with that like Seattle team. I mean, yeah, they had the league and stuff, but like that he was like he had like the good combination of like good X's and O's, then like with like the like, hey, like I'm the guy that like, rallies you.
Yeah, has fun, listens to rap music. He was a defensive schemer too, though.
I like those guys. Don't get me wrong. I just think like you have to organize it in an appropriate manner for sure. Like you're either
what about
one or
when
the
you
other.
say you're going to chop off the old schlong when you win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that is like tough to be on Vrabel's side. I don't think I'm.
It's a tough one.
I don't think anyone would make him do that though.
Well, he said he's going to do it. I mean, no, he's.
Yeah, I know he said, but like ultimately, when it came time to do it, you wouldn't do it. So the question is,
why do you even say it is the more important
part.
That's
a great point.
Like,
why would you put that up? Why would you put your penis up? That's a great point. Great point.
You're not going to actually do it.
Why is it even in the range of outcomes? Like there's some things that you should just be like, no, not happening.
Yeah.
Like
there's a lot of stuff you could say. I don't know why you go with that. Shave your head, do a bunch of stuff like that, but don't go straight for the sausage.
Yeah, like eat a hat. We know DC never ate the hat. Like it's fine. You know what I mean? Like just don't cut your meat off.
All right,
Tony, what's your favorite bet this week?
I was looking. I mean, I put one up on the sheet that I love. Let me find an actual game though. I think I've been preaching all year about these 5.5 road favorites where they just look so freaking trappy to me. So I think Houston's a pretty good bet at home. 5.5. The Chargers just look, man, could everybody have been more wrong about the West so far? It just looks like a disaster. I know I thought 3-4 teams like everyone else, but man, who looks good? Herbert.
Chargers will be fine. Broncos.
I don't know, man. Their line's beat up already. Their quarterback.
But Herbert.
They have a lot of injuries. It's 100%
they do.
correct.
They always do. But they'll be in the mix.
They have to be like the most unlucky team.
Sure,
over
but
the last
we were
20
thinking this could be the year like the leap finally happens, and it's not the leap if they're like 9-8 or like in that mix there. Like there was higher expectations.
They're in trouble. They shouldn't have played Herbert. Like they had to let him get healthy, even if that's losing.
I go back to the X's and O's things. I don't care how good you are at X's and O's. If you can't hold your players accountable and you're going to be an NBA coach and just be like, oh, you're my star player. You run the team. I'll just sit. What do I do next, guy? I mean, that's why I like a guy like Vrabel. Do you think Vrabel, he's talking about cutting his dick off. Do you think he's going to let his quarterback dictate whether or not he's playing, or do you think he's going to say no? You're
not playing
here. The training staff
said
no.
Are we sure he might not make him play? Like he's down to cut it off. I don't know. He might actually make his guy play. That's how crazy he is.
You got to realize it's week 3, coach. Like, come on, coach. It's week 3. Even if you lose, you're not done. How you could lose the season though is getting him hurt more and not being able to play. Then you're done.
The way to beat the Jaguars was like, okay, I know we're holding back Austin Eckler a little bit, but like, let's ground and pound the crap out of him, right? You had that Thursday night game. He wasn't used as much. Let's like run him into the ground for a game. And then like we give Herbert back in the next game. Like, let's just control clock and run it, get that defense tired. That's what they should have done with Chase Daniels, not with Herbert.
And I don't think the Chiefs look that bad, Tony. I mean, that was like the worst penalty of the year.
Yeah, but week 2, they look terrible too. Like he threw like 5 picks versus the Chargers. They all got dropped or penalties. And I think they look terrible. I honestly do.
I think they're going to be fine.
What do you like about
what's your definition of fine? Because like the thing about the
Chiefs, being in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, there's no way. Like,
so that's fine. Like, if you're gonna say like, oh, like they'll make the playoffs and be fine, yeah, sure. But I don't know if they're making that AFC Championship game. I mean, there's
no way. My strongest stands of the year are the Chiefs suck and Tampa sucks, and Tampa was favored.
Wow.
So we went on the Print Factory last week. ODB told me I can bet the whole NFC versus Tampa, and it's only minus 380. I don't know. That was before the loss though, so I don't know if it swung. But minus 380, and I get all the teams. I mean, I'd literally go all in on that. Like,
I don't disagree with Big T because that line is an absolute disaster, and that is where like
they're old.
Brady, we love Brady. We think he's great. Like he's been amazing, but like
I think he was great. Yes.
Once that line falls apart. That's where he's had problems.
He's got no receivers healthy either on top of it.
Well, correct. And yes, maybe eventually they'll get healthy in time, but that line, I don't think it's getting that much healthier. And that's the most important thing.
Arguably the best defense in football, though. Arguably the best defense in football there in Tampa.
Their defense is good.
That's going to get you there. And that NFC is not like, making that AFC, right?
I agree with those points for sure. Like it's wide open. I just can't believe that. How could they be 3-1 to win the NFC? That's egregious. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I think it just shows the level of competition. I mean, look at the rest of their division. And the Saints might be down and dusted. They're throwing out a quarterback that they shouldn't be in there. So they're going to roll through their division. The Rams definitely have holes. The 49ers, hey, this and that, but if it came down to it, right, and I got Brady and you got Jimmy G, I mean, right, and then the Packers, they're another team, great defense, great quarterback, and not a lot of weapons as of right now. Of course, their offensive line's looking a lot better, but we've seen Rodgers go in these playoff games and have problems. He can't force feed it to Devontae Adams. Can Romeo Dobbs become that guy by the time the playoff starts? Maybe, but that seems like that's that team's only hope. This NFC is really watered down. It feels like how the NBA used to be, where the West was so good and the East was just like, okay, whatever.
I agree with all your points. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. And me and Spread, we made a wager. It was we each have one head coach, and the head coach, basically whichever one wins the Super Bowl first, we win the lunch bet, right? I got McDaniels, and spread has.
I hope you have McDaniels plural. You have McDaniels singular.
No, I have yes. I know. I'm doing the JSU, right? I'm out in the S.
Oh, I had the S to it. Oh, that's JSU's move for sure.
So I got Miami McDaniel, and then he's got the Ravens and Harborough. Which coach would you?
Harborough?
Definitely Harborough. I'm taking Harborough.
Get him, Fred.
Definitely Harborough.
I want Vince Lombardi.
McDaniels versus Harborough.
Yeah,
I'm taking Harbaugh, by the way, Mangone.
Yeah. I want Bill Belichickers.
That's tough. That's a good question for you guys. I like that bet because I like Miami's talent better, but I like Harbaugh as a coach.
Oh, wait, can we just talk about how Jalen Waddle is a better wide receiver than Tyreek Hill at this point?
Jalen Waddle might be a better receiver than almost everyone. He is very good.
He is great.
And he's got the best touchdown dance. Oh, not better than the Gritty. Second best touchdown dance.
I think the Waddle is right up there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very good. Very, very good.
The Waddle's his, right? The Gritty's like everyone's. The Waddle's his.
The Gritty started with those LSU guys, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
And so when you win this bet, Travis, in your mind, are you imagining Tua lifting up that Super Bowl trophy?
Yeah, that's not happening.
Is it with a new?
I'm not imagining him doing it.
Lamar's not doing it either, though.
I think he's capable.
He's got a better chance.
If you're telling me Kyle Shanahan could bring Jimmy G to be a 95% chance to win the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter, not to bring up bad memories, Tony, I'm sorry.
Terrible memories.
But if you're telling me that if that man, Kyle Shanahan, can bring Jimmy G to that point, I think McDaniel can do it too.
Kyle Shanahan is my favorite coach, though. I love Shanahan.
No, I love Shanahan too, but I think McDaniel's a good one too.
Imagine having to deal with Jimmy G every year. His sorry ass. It's just painful.
Yeah.
He was so horrific in that Sunday night game. It was painful for me. I had a huge parlay coming back from Arizona. All I needed was San Fran, and it was the worst sweat of my life.
Did you hedge it or no?
No, I lost. I'll be honest. I lost. I should have hedged something, but I just lost. I would have won over 30K. All they had to do was win, and they didn't.
That's not even enough to get a congratulation anymore. So
I know.
Too bad.
I was just bringing it up because it was
30K.
I can't believe it. It's up to 250. You could have at least just taken it to 150 or something.
Why?
250.
There's too many 100K hits. I'm not going to sit here and congratulate you every time you win.
Yeah, Tony, come back next week. No excuses. Play like a champion. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Get that thing hung, baby. Right back.
Put it over Favre. Favre's going to penitentiary, man.
Yeah,
Put
I'm
that
gonna
up
hang it
on
up
the
here.
Yeah,
wall.
that's true. You can't have him when he's in jail.
Yeah, why is
Get him
Favre
up
on
there.
your wall? By
Put
the
it
way?
over Favre
Because
right now.
Brett Favre's my favorite player.
Why don't
but
you
he
put
has
Michael
mine
Vick
too,
on
but
the
he's
other
a
side
criminal.
there?
Get Michael Vick on the other side.
Yeah, we're gonna get Mike Vick. What else are we grabbing? I forgot who the other
Get
one
Ray
is.
Lewis right
Yeah.
above your
Yeah,
head.
Ray Lewis.
Yeah, get some Aaron
OJ
Hernandez.
Hey, get that
jerseys.
OJ
Aaron
jersey, man.
Hernandez. Hang the Aaron Hernandez.
We
OJ
need
Simpson.
Aaron
You
Hernandez,
guys got me
OJ
dying.
Simpson.
I got Paul Pierce. I can hang Paul Pierce up right now. You want to see him?
He got
You guys got
stabbed.
me
He didn't
dying
stab
right now.
anybody.
Yeah, I'll show up next week wearing the jersey of local legend Ray Caruth there for you.
Oh,
Isn't
you
he out
guys-
of prison too? Isn't Caruth out?
Yeah,
No,
I saw
he
him play in
got
high
out. I
school.
thought he killed
just
someone.
Torched our team.
He
It
did.
was
He killed his
terrible.
pregnant baby
How
mama.
was he out then?
Because don't even get me going down there. Let me
Favre
see
just
here.
came down.
Yeah, I like it. McDaniels is coming up next.
Yes, now
He
we're
took
cooking,
it down.
baby.
Favre is
Yes,
Yeah.
Pearson's
Who is that?
back.
Tony
Good.
Snell?
It's
All right,
Pierce and
Travis.
Kobe Bryant.
Tony
All right.
Snell, you just said.
You know, I got a Tony Snell autographed. Like,
Fred was on fire for about 5 minutes, had me rolling, and then he fired the Tony Snell line out there.
he asked him. I hung up a Tony Snell framed autograph picture.
How quick did you get Favre off the wall and Pierce up? That was impressive.
That is good.
What
It's a
else
little-
is down
it's a
there,
little
Travis?
unbalanced, but-
Yeah,
What else
well,
is
I
on
think
your
you're-
list, buddy?
Yeah.
Anything else that's good?
Can you switch them out real quick? Do you have like another one? If
If he comes with another one, I
what's
will
going
be
on in your
thoroughly
home state?
impressed.
I don't think I have another picture. Nearby.
Seriously, dude.
No, I don't.
Do you
got
know
one.
an artist?
You don't even have like a Ben Roethlisberger one we can throw up there?
My daughter's an artist, Mango, and she could draw you a Caruth, OJ Simpson, Ray Lewis little montage back
That's
there.
not,
If you are
maybe get like a
interested.
Mount Rushmore of them. Do a
Yeah,
Mount
a Mount
Rushmore.
Rushmore of
Sounds
NFL murders. That'd be great.
great. Yeah, it's a great idea.
All right, I think we hit the end. That's where we kind of wrap
Are you
things
gonna
up.
do
I
the
suppose.
wishbone tonight, or do I gotta? I mean, does
You're
Travis
doing the
need to-
wishbone. You don't need to do the wishbone.
No, hell no. I'm not old enough to go on there.
Yeah, I'm not old enough either.
I mean, I like to do the wishbone sober. I definitely won't be. Is the problem?
Wait,
When
what?
have you done it? So
You've never done it sober.
Yeah,
Holden.
You're right.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah, actually,
At like
you're right.
20
I
minutes
forgot.
in, we like lose you.
I forgot.
yeah,
true.
exactly.
Like
That's
once
why
it
the
like
show is
kicks
fun.
in, it's just like, what is going on
Right.
here?
yeah, guys, Richie,
Holden's trying to wrap up after like 25 minutes because he's got the munchies. So instead, he comes back eating popsicles.
We listen.
and I'm
we-
jealous. I'm like, how
We're
is
at the
this
end of
guy-
the good conversation, and that's why I wanted to wrap up. Then you start talking
Eat
nonsense.
the popsicle.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm
Popsicles are
so
good.
jealous of Holden. It's just like, he doesn't congratulate you for 150K hits. I don't congratulate him when he hooks up with models and then eats popsicles and doesn't get fat. It's just absolutely unreal.
Man,
All
I
the
was
work
hungry,
I'm
dude.
doing
Those
over
100
here.
calorie
My
Fudge
hairline,
Pops from
my
Whole Foods.
hairline's going away. Oh my! And
There's
then Holden's
nothing
over
better
there,
than Whole
great
Foods
hair.
Fudge
Yeah.
Pops. 100 calories, you can eat a whole box.
Hold
It's
it,
amazing.
Richie
It's
Smalls has a
amazing.
great comment. He's wondering where my Henry Ruggs jersey's at.
Let's throw him in there.
Yeah.
Ray Caruth, by the way, has been free for 4 years. Amazing.
That's crazy.
18 years in prison for killing a baby and a baby's mom. It's just sick. Anyways, we'll leave it on that note. It's been wonderful. Mangone, watch what you eat. Spread, wonderful to see you. Tony, thanks for showing up. Simon, get us out of here.